Hi everyone, my name is Alifiya Hyderi and I'm one of the PGY1 residency coordinators at Rush University Medical Center. I did my undergrad and my grad school at University of Southern California and I moved out here to Illinois to do my PGY1 residency at North Shore University Health Systems. And since after that, I got a job at Rush, so I've been working here since. I'm also the ICHP and other regional director, and it's been great working with this organization. Today, I will be talking to you guys about residency showcase and how to prepare for residency interviews. But before I go into it, just wanted to start off by saying that we are experiencing some interesting times where we have been challenged to rethink traditional processes. And one of them is the in-person residency showcase. First of all, I would like to commend the ICHP team on putting together this virtual conference, including a virtual residency showcase. And the rest of my presentation will be going over how to present yourself at the virtual showcase and the residency interviews. All right, so my first advice to you is on virtual meeting etiquette. Rule number one, please remember to mute yourself if you're not speaking. And rule number two, please be cognizant of the background that you're using, especially if you have your video on. With that being said, for residency showcase, I would strongly advise you to do your research on residency programs prior to attending the showcase. Doing it prior to the showcase will help us streamline the questions you ask and get the most out of the conversation with the program preceptors. Almost all programs have residency websites with basic information about geographical location, patient volume, residency class size, preceptor biographies, rotation requirements, and maybe even past resident information. So what happens if you didn't do the research ahead of time? Not to worry. Programs usually have a display featuring highlights of their program or flyers advertising this information. Take a look at that information, quickly scan it. Since it will be virtual, you can quickly pull up the program's website and read about the program and then initiate a conversation. Initiating a conversation with potential preceptors can be difficult and nerve-wracking, so a little research can help you break that ice. You can introduce yourself with, "Hi, my name is Alifiya and I'm from University of Southern California," and then use a fact about what you found interesting about the program and break the ice. You could start by saying, "What attracted me to your program is the wide variety of elective rotations available to residents." I would strongly advise you guys to use open-ended questions such as, "Can you tell me more about your program or this rotation?" Instead of asking closed-ended questions. This will get the conversation going, and you can then ask more specific and thoughtful questions. So why is it important to ask more specific and thoughtful questions? Preceptors and program directors love interacting and mentoring residents and are actively involved in this recruiting and training of future residents. However, we need to see that you have gone the extra mile, did your homework, and came prepared. After all, this is foreshadowing of how you will be performing at a residency and also prove yourself to be a self-learner. Next, it is important to manage your time. I would advise to attend residency showcase program that your school may be putting together. This way you will get familiar with the in-state programs, and then at the ASHP mid-year residency showcase, you can focus on the out-of-state programs. You can consider saving your top programs for the latter part of the showcase. You can try talking to a couple of programs to see how it goes and get into the routine of asking questions at some of your safety programs and project a more confident persona to your top choices. Key is to make a first good impression. At the virtual showcase, I would recommend to talk to both preceptors and residents. You can find out specific information about a resident's work life and their experiencing when you talk to them directly. For the questions you will ask, think of how you can ask them professionally. For example, if you want to find out the number of hours a resident typically spends at a facility, you could consider asking, "What is a typical resident's day like?" instead of asking, "How many hours will I have to be at the hospital?" The way you phrase your questions could have an impact on your personality. I've listed a few questions that will help you decide what you want to do in your future practice. Knowing yourself and what you want will help you decide which residency program you would like to be part of and what specific skills you will gain from the program. Remember that a residency showcase serves as a forum for prospective candidates to interact and obtain more information about the program that they are interested in. Consider it as an interview before the interview, but this goes both ways. While the residency program screens you as a candidate, you should be doing the same screening for the programs. They should seem enthusiastic about answering questions and sincere in promoting their program. If you notice overtired residents and preceptors, this can convey a sense of miserable environment to work in, versus a lively professional group of people who get along can make a wonderful learning environment. So essentially, both you and the program are trying to see if you would be a good fit for each other. Do remember to take notes. Write down names of people you spoke with. I've seen candidates mention in their personal statement who they spoke to at the residency showcase. You could put together a spreadsheet of programs of things you like about the program and what skills they can provide that will help you achieve your future goals. Lastly, double check due dates on applications. This year we are anticipating more number of applicants, so please remember to submit your application on time. Now we will be moving on to the second part of the presentation where I will discuss how to prepare for the actual residency interview. Prior to your interview, try to gather as much information as you can about the program. You can visit the program's website, ASHP directory, Google the institution, talk to past residents. This way you will be well informed about the program and give them an impression that you are seriously looking into this program. Next step is to prepare for interview questions. A few common questions that you're likely to be asked are, tell us about yourself. For this, you have to be prepared to talk about yourself, why you're an ideal candidate for the job. Next is, what sets you apart from the other candidates? Know your strengths, know your weaknesses, areas of improvement, and be able to elaborate on these. Know why you have chosen to apply to this program. What are your career goals? These are some basic get to know you questions, getting to know you, your goals, so be prepared to answer those questions. You should also prepare for some situation based questions. For example, can you tell us about your best patient case intervention? Or a time when you had the best or the worst interaction with another healthcare provider? The best way to answer these situational questions is to use the STAR method: situation, task, action, result. First, describe the situation. Then discuss your responsibilities. Next, describe how you overcame the challenge or what action you took. And lastly, discuss the result of the action and what you learned from this experience. With your answers, try to be specific and articulate. Think through your answers. For example, for your future goals, instead of saying, I want to be a clinical pharmacist, you can consider expanding on that and give reasons as to why you want to be a clinical pharmacist, why it appeals to you, and how you plan on having an impact on patient care. If you can tie that answer with why you want to do a residency and why a residency will help you achieve your goals, you'll have a great answer. So practice your answers ahead of time, but at the same time, don't try and sound too rehearsed. So next what I like to go over with y'all is to avoid certain questions that give the wrong impression. So for example, don't ask questions that can be easily found on a program's website or in printed material. Don't ask about salary or stipend pay, vacation, PTO. You can save all of that for the HR session where they will be going over that information. It's just to prevent sending the wrong message. So after your interaction with the program, send the preceptors and residents a thank you note as a follow-up. Some may say that it is not necessary to do so after a residency showcase, but if you had a meaningful exchange with a preceptor or two, then consider letting them know in a sentence or two. Keep your thank you note brief, keep it sincere, and keep it professional. Some candidates may choose to email the recipient, while others will actually send a handwritten note. It's up to you what you choose, but just make sure you send a thank you note after the on-site interview. Why is that important? To me, it shows your maturity and it exhibits consideration and manners. It also proves that you're able to reflect on your experiences. So I have covered quite a bit in this short period of time. It may seem overwhelming, but just following these simple tips will help you navigate through the residency showcase and the interviews and help you set a good impression. Thank you for listening in.